Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is another offer writing workshop. I am not going to go into the cash flow analyzer on this particular discussion, but what I want to spend some time with is talk to you about exactly how to analyze a property package from a broker. All right. So here, this actually came over from one of my students. It's a great little analysis as far as the Marcus and Millichap packages go, because Marcus Millichap, their packages tend to be pretty standard. You've seen one, you've seen them all. So I want to kind of walk you through a typical broker property package so that you can take a look at it and understand what you need to be looking for. So here you have an offering memorandum from the name of the property is Sheldon Palms, Tampa, Florida. It's a 312 unit apartment rental community located in Tampa, Florida. Now, and note here, it says price to be determined by market. Now, what's happening is this property is probably coming on the market for one of the first few times. And so they don't want to put a price on it because, as you understand from any form of real estate investing you've done, anyone that mentions price first loses. So in this particular case, what we're doing is we're going to try to figure out what's going on this deal. But as I mentioned before, we're not going to do the numbers in this. Now, what we do is we take a look at this particular property and we try to figure out what's going on. Note the two different styles of roof. Okay, they're both pitched, but one is brand new and one looks like it's pretty streaked. So you get some properties that have roofs that will be done, and other properties that roofs will need to be done. That will become your responsibility. Now, remember when I talk about what my particular analysis is as it relates to type of deals that I look for, my elevator speech. This particular property kind of meets my elevator speech. It's based on what I know right now, it's pitched roofs, separate entrances, most likely individually metered, most likely built in the 80s. And it's a nice looking asset. And it also goes to that particular rule that I have where I would only buy a property that I would want to live in. I hate to tell you guys, but this looks pretty nice. I wouldn't mind living in this particular property. So let's keep looking here and keep going through it. There's a confidentiality agreement. Okay, this is obviously their get out of jail free card in the event that the information that the seller provides is not accurate. Don't blame Marcus and Millichap for what these idiots say. Hey, it's not our deal, okay? I wonder how often that particular confidentiality exemption has been tested in court. Now, note here that you're dealing with two particular brokers for Marcus and Millichap, both out of the Tampa office. Typically, what Marcus and Millichap does is they have particular groups within offices, especially in Texas. So you'll have so many different groups within the Marcus Millichap office, and those are the groups that you will be working with directly. Okay, pretty pictures, what we call in the business a sparkling pool. There you have it. I always want to show you that. Executive summary, the table of contents, no big deal. Here's some more pretty pictures, executive summary. Now, price to be determined by market, number of units, 312, 1 to 3 stories. Now, check this out here, and this is something I want you to really focus on, is the fact that the ownership is on a fee simple basis. Now, that may not seem like all those great shakes to you, but you have to understand what fee simple means. Fee simple means that you are buying the entire asset. You are buying all of the mineral rights below it, and you're buying all the air rights above it, and you're buying the whole entire asset. And so the fact of the matter is that the only way that you could potentially lose this property is if you don't pay the taxes or the government comes in through eminent domain. And I'm also discounting adverse possession here, but the fact is that you own everything on this property. Now, why is that important? Why is it important for them to put that particular statement on the offering summary? because in different parts of the country, you are not buying fee simple. Up here in the Northeast where I'm located, you're buying fee simple. It's just like, why would you even put that on there? Of course we're buying fee simple. And the fact is that in other parts of the country, especially in Texas, in Oklahoma, and Arizona, you may not be buying fee simple. You may be buying fee simple less the mineral rights of the property. In other words, the previous owner or some other previous owner may have said, you know what, I'm going to sell the mineral rights of this property to an oil company, and they are going to own that property. Now, I remember one time I was dealing with a particular deal in Fort Worth, Texas, and the guy said, well, you're not going to be buying the mineral rights. Like, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is that the previous owner sold the mineral rights to an oil company. I said, are you trying to tell me that somehow they're going to put a oil rig on this property to hit the oil? And he goes, no. The way technology is today is they can put a pump 3 miles away and hit under your property. And they will tell you if they're hitting under your property. And then they'll send you a check, a royalty check, based upon the oil that they generate from that. So, okay, so that's how fee simple works, and that's how you want to make sure that when you're looking at a particular deal, that's what you're getting. Now the thing is, the unit mix: 84 one bedroom, one baths, 72 one bedroom, one bath dens, 84 two bedroom, two baths, and 72 three bedroom, two baths. So it's almost like 50-50. The one bedroom, one baths issue, that's always an issue because one bedrooms, people tend to move in and out. It's almost like a hotel room. In this particular case, they have a den on some of those one bedroom, one baths. You wonder if they're just oversized second bedrooms, and that's the case. Now, two bedroom, they have 84, so it's equal number of one bedrooms versus 2 and 3 bedrooms. These are pretty big, 1,000 units, 1,000 square feet for a 2 bedroom, 2 bath. That's a good size unit, man. These are big bedrooms. So these are probably nice units once you get inside of them. All right, interest in terms of sale property. Okay, check this out. The property is being offered free and clear of debt. What does that mean? Why is that significant in this discussion? And the answer is, what's the alternative? If it's not free and clear of debt, the alternative is that it is encumbered by debt. Well, why would you buy a property that's encumbered by debt? The only type of property that you're encumbered by is that which you'd have to assume the existing debt. And so what they're saying here by making the statement that the property is free and clear of debt is that you're not assuming the debt. And that's exactly the case in this for this property. It is not an assumption. You get to come to the table with your own first mortgage. So you get to go out and negotiate a new first lien on the property. And that's good. That's a benefit because, if you've been in any of my classes, you know how I feel about assumptions. Assumptions are nightmarish. I can't stand them. They're burdensome, and you should be paid to do an assumption by the seller. In this particular case, no assumption, free and clear of debt. Okay, let's move on. Pretty picture. More pretty pictures. Okay, listen, I'm not going to go too much through this, but the fact of the matter is that most of this stuff is blah, as I call it, blah, blah, blah. Now, the only real thing that you might want to think about to make this better is this particular paragraph. The property has recently undergone significant unit renovations on approximately 85% of the units in the community, which includes resurfacing of countertops. So they didn't replace the countertops, they just resurfaced them, cabinetry and vanities, as well as new vinyl and carpet flooring with new faucets and light fixtures being installed. While these unit improvements have achieved higher rent levels, there still lies significant rental upside with continued unit renovations on the remainder of the community and ability to raise rents even further with additional unit upgrades. Based on the most recent survey, units are renting anywhere from 50 to 100% below the competitive set, making Sheldon Palms an ideal candidate for a property improvement. Additionally, the property was fully painted in 2012, and five of the roofs have been replaced. Okay, only five. Remember, look at that first picture. We could easily tell that one of the roofs had not been replaced. Now, also keep in mind that only 15% of the units still need this particular type of upgrade. So we can only upgrade 15% of the units to capture this additional revenue that may exist out there. And the thing is that now they're saying, based on the most recent survey, units are renting from $50 to $100 below the competitive rent. Okay, that's great, and we will put that into our cash flow analyzer for years down the road in our hopes to build value and drive value on this property. But as far as it relates to what we do here, as far as what it takes to deal with this particular matter on the $50 to $100 increases, is you are not going to take those numbers into consideration when you are doing your analysis, because it's not your money and it's not his money. It's potential money that you may capture in the future. And if you capture it in the future, bravo to you and your grandchildren or your children. But up to this point, you are not going to use those numbers in any way, shape, manner, or form to determine the value of this particular property. Okay? Now, let me just, I know I'm on the, I know I talk quite a bit here, but if anybody has any questions, just type them into the question box and I'll be more than happy to chat with you. Okay. All right. So let's see. Next thing, let's go run through their investment highlights. It's a B-class unit. Okay. Now, it's built in 96. Here's my issue here. If the property is built in 96, in my estimation, we're talking about a B+ type property, not an A, more of a B+. But he is telling us that this particular property is more of a B property. Now, the reason why I have an issue with that is because this guy knows the Tampa market better than I do. And if he's telling me that this particular property is a solid B, not a B+, that tells me that I've got a lot of a competition at the A level. Because the thing that makes an A-class property turn into a B is time and more newer A-class properties. So if they are bringing more A-class properties online in this marketplace, you're starting to see these nice properties move quickly into B. So I am not going to be able to compete against these new A units. This is a solid B-class property, and that's all I'm going to be able to compete against. So keep that in mind when you look at this, is that you want to check out and determine exactly what's the market out there for this type of that I'm competing against in this particular marketplace. And it sounds to me, based upon the fact that this guy is considering this a solid B-class property from a 96-year built property, is that there's a lot of competition out there at the A level. Okay, that's the way I read that. Spacious units, just averaging under 1,000 square feet. I agree with that. Significant unit renovations over the last few years. Okay, fine. Diverse unit mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom. Well, not that diverse. I mean, most of them are 50% of them are ones, and the other 50% of it are 2 and 3 bedrooms. And the thing is, when you're dealing with one unit properties, you're dealing with more turnover. I mean, it's tougher to move families out of properties than it is to move a divorcee out of a property. Okay. Opportunity to increase rents between $50 and $100. Okay, that's fine, but that's wishful thinking. If that were so easy, why aren't you doing it? All right, now, folks, I've actually gone through this, and this, watch what I do as I go through this particular section. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now understand that I just kind of blah, blahed my way through that. If you decide to move forward with this particular deal, all of that stuff that I just said blah, blah about, you're going to copy and paste, and you're going to put into your offering memorandum. That's good stuff. I don't need to know it right now because I'm assuming that I already know the Tampa marketplace. But when it comes time to building my offering memorandum for my investors, I am going to do nothing more than cut and paste what I just showed you into my offering memorandum. Why reinvent the wheel? That stuff is good information. Local destinations, blah, 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 blah. Okay, property summary. Let's see if we can find anything of an import here, of importance here. I'm just going to check to see if we have any questions. Okay, good. No questions so far. Good, 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 good. Okay. God, a lot more people just joined the call. I'm excited. Okay, year built, 1996. I like that, guys. 1996 is a good year. This is a nice property. Fee simple ownership. Oh wait, jump down. Foundation, slab, wood frame, framing, exterior, stucco. Okay, central air, HVAC. Okay, gosh, this is a good, nice property. It's good stuff. I like this. Clubhouse, fitness center, lightest tennis courts. Oh, who doesn't want to live here? Who does not want to live here? Look at these pictures and tell me, wouldn't you love to have a nice apartment down here in Tampa in this place? Yeah, I would. Look at here, some of the pretty pictures, pretty pictures. Okay, nice conservation area, pretty pictures, pretty pictures, pretty pictures. Nice map. Nice map. Okay, now this is, I love these maps. Now let me tell you something. If you do not have Google Earth, you have got to put Google Earth on your computer. Because if you're, if you're looking at any particular deals in a marketplace that is not in your own backyard, you really need to have Google Earth, because you will be able to type in that address and go into that particular address through Google Earth and figure out exactly what's going on in that marketplace. Now take a look at this. Where's your competition? I'm going to stop right now just to see who's live on the call, and I'll put up my questions box, and I'll say I want you to answer this question. Who can answer this question? Look at this picture and tell me who's your competition. I will wait. Go ahead. Got a lot of people on the call. Tell me. I'm waiting for your answer. Who's going to type into the question box first? Where's my competition on this property? Hello? Who's going to tell me? I'm going to start taking you guys off mute and making you speak out loud. Maybe I should do that, unless somebody types something into the question box and answer into the question box. All right, fine. You're going to make me take you off mute? Who can I pick on? Should I pick on Carol Ballou? How about John Piskowski? Come on, guys. No one's going to answer this question. Okay, fine. I'll let you all off the hook. The answer is, look in this picture right here. And this is the beautiful thing about Google Earth. There is no competition. This is the only apartment complex in the area. It's surrounded by single-family homes. If someone cannot afford a single-family home or moving out of a single-family home, this is the only show in town in this particular neighborhood. I like that. This is a good deal. This is a nice particular property to look at. That's why Google Earth can be so incredibly important as you're sitting there looking at deals that are not in your marketplace. Okay. Next thing, pretty pictures, pretty pictures. Okay, gosh, they just waste your time so much with these pictures. Okay, now this particular screen, this Marcus and Millichap page is in every single Marcus and Millichap page. Now, remember that section in the cash flow analyzer. Let me see if I happen to have one open. As a matter of fact, of course I do. I'm dealing in this all the time. Now remember, this is what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the income section, and right here into this enter lease description, this is where all that information comes into play. So you got 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 84, 1 bedroom, 1 bath and den, 72, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 84, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 72, square footage is right there. Okay, so you use all of this information right here, right here in the income section. You fill in the blanks right here. You put in the square footage right here. You put in the number of units right here, and you put in the market rents right here. Let me show you what I mean by the market rents. If we just do a quick little gross here, I'm going to scroll on over. Check this out. Here's the market rent, $785. Look at what they're averaging for the same unit, $763. So the difference between this 785 and the 783 is the loss to lease. So you're looking here. Remember, if you look at this equation, we're not even taking into consideration any of the physical or economic vacancy. We're looking at the market rents of 916 and what the market rents and what the actual rents of 891 are. So the difference between the two of 3.4 million versus 3.3 million, the difference between the two is your loss to lease. And the thing is that Marcus and Millichap does that for you right here on this particular screen. So that's part of the equation here, is the fact that that's how far off you are. Now, if you remember what I said, if any of you have taken any of my classes, let's take a look at, if we take a 3335040 divided by 348640. Darn it, I did it wrong. Hold on, let me do it again. 3335040 divided by 3428640. You're looking at about a 2.2% difference between the gross potential, the never land, as I call it, the never land, and what they're actually getting for rents, 2.2. Now, if you think back to any of you taking any of my classes, that's the 2.2 loss to lease. That tells me that this particular person is the person running the property is doing a very good job of running this property, because you're only off by the market rents of 2.2%. If you're off by 10%, this property manager is doing a crappy job of running the property. Let me see. How do you do? Okay, so one particular person has asked a question: how do you get market rents if there is nothing like it in the neighborhood? Okay, let me just do. I'm going to pause the showing of my screen. I'm going to try to do, and the reason why I'm taking this offline is because I'm not quite sure I know exactly what the website is. Bear with me here a second. Where are we going? Bear with me. Let me see. I think it's called. Here. If this works, you will be very happy that I did this. If it doesn't work, well, we'll figure out how to solve this particular problem. So I'm trying to answer the question here. Oh, I think I did it. Okay, perfect. All right. So one of my favorite people in this particular equation is hold on a second. I think somebody on the call just texted me. I'm just listening. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Somebody just told me that they're on the phone, so they can't respond back. So let me just show you something here. One of my favorite people, who's always keep me so incredibly honest here, is she just asked the question: how do they get to market rents if there is nothing like it in the neighborhood? And the answer is right here. This particular property called Rentometer. Okay, I recommend you guys use this all the time. Let me tell you something. It's not exact, it's not scientific, but it's pretty darn accurate. It tells you exactly what's going on a particular in a particular marketplace. So let's go back and do a quick little search here, and let's find the address for this property. 8802 Brennan Circle, okay? Jump back over here to here, 8802 Brennan Circle. Tampa, Florida. There it is right there. Pops right up. Rent, I am paying. What did he say the rent was? Let's go back and figure out exactly what he said the rent was. Where's our pretty little number here? So the website you're looking for is rentometer.com. If you're ever doing market surveys, and he says the market rent is, well, let's see, he's paying $763. All right. So if we come back here and say $763 for a 1-bedroom, right? It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bedroom. How do we do? Are we in the marketplace? And they're telling me that in that area, my rent is pretty darn close to market. I don't have a whole lot of room in that number. At 763, I'm pretty darn high. You like that, folks? Look at the median rent is $675. The average rent is $667. Man, this is not going to be a value play based upon pumping the rents. Wow. All right. Anybody excited about that particular website? It's pretty good stuff, huh? Rentometer.com. It tells you exactly how you're looking. All right. So that should give you an idea, my friend, as to how to figure out if your rents are in market. Rentometer.com. Now understand something, and you're going to see this in just a second as I continue to go through the property package, is that you really need to analyze, you really need to know the market. You need to do a lot of analysis as to exactly what's going on. Yeah, you know, Mike just asked the question, does Rentometer have an FAQ that explains how they got to their numbers? I think they got to their numbers mostly by people sending in their own information, which obviously becomes an issue with the quality of the information. You really need to get back and dig down, because guys, if you're looking at a particular market, you had better darn well be an expert in that market as to what the average rents are. You should know just by looking at it, like, oh, these rents are low. If you go back on my group coaching call archives, I think it's group coaching call number 19. I'm not sure, but go back and check it out where you talk to Paul Worcester, a guy who owns 2,800 apartment units. That guy knows his market, and he will tell you right from the beginning, this is what it takes. And this particular property is a good deal because I know the rents are below what they need to be. So that's what you want to do. That's how you want to analyze it. Okay. So hopefully, Mike, that answers your question. You've got to be an expert. You really do need to be an expert in your situation. Okay. So let's get back to Marcus Millichap. We're looking at their financial analysis. This page, you will see this page on every one of their groups, on any one of their property packages, and this information is so easy. Once you see this page, you know to go to the go to the income section of the cash flow analyzer and use the information in this particular page to stick into the cash flow analyzer. It's all right there for you. Okay, next page. Now, folks, here's where they get funky. Check this out. February 15th, February 2015, trailing 3-month actuals. Okay. All right. 3 months. You're only going to give me 3 months, and then you're going to annualize it. And then year 0, Marcus and Millichap actuals. Well, what's year 0? Year 0 is today. Because look at over here, year 1 is next year. If you do everything we think you can do, we think our projections are going to be accurate right here. Well, the fact of the matter is, all I care about is this number right here, the February 15th trailing 3-month actuals. Folks, I don't care about 3-month actuals. This asset, based upon what it looks like, is a performing asset. This is a pretty property. Well, if it's so pretty, why are you only showing me 3 months of the actual financials? Show me 12 months. You know what I say. My mother always said you need to see a woman in all 12 months before you marry her. And the fact is that they're only showing us 3 months. And this is a performing asset. What the hell are they hiding? What's gone on this property? They are not telling me. I cannot make a decision on this property based upon this particular, these financials that they're giving me. All right. Look at February 15, 2015, trailing 3-month actuals. Same thing. Where's my numbers? I need to know the actual numbers in this property. Why are you only showing me 3 months? And of course, they give notes and assumptions. I'm not going to go into this, but this will be very interesting to read to find out why they're coming up with their assumptions, why they're coming up with all this stuff. As you can see, they're going to be footnotes right here. 17. Let's see. Controllable payroll, footnote 17. Look at year 0, Marcus and Millichap, 276, trailing 3, 171. What does footnote 17 say? All right. Payroll trailing is based on the information in the income and expense statements. Year 0 and year 1 assumes 1 full-time property manager, 1 full-time and 1 part-time leasing agent, and 1 full-time maintenance supervisor and 2 full-time maintenance techs. Okay. That's what you guys are assuming. So tell me something. What do they have now? They're only spending 171. You guys think you should spend 276. And if we spend, according to you, if we spend 276, we're only spending $885 per unit per year. What's my rule of thumb? My rule of thumb is at least $1,000 per unit per year. $1,000 per unit per year. But the thing is, with the new Obamacare, it's going to be closer to $1,300 per unit per year. So either one of these two numbers, I think, are too low. So I'm not buying these numbers. I'm just not buying the broker's numbers. I think they're all bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to make a note of that and delete that comment. Apologize to everybody. So the fact is that you need to use your rules of thumb, my rules of thumb in these numbers to be able to create exactly what the number is, because as you can see, the broker is using 3 months of actuals to make up his story, and it just doesn't work that way. There are notes and assumptions, cash flow. I don't care about this. This page, you can burn this page on my computer because it's all based upon future assumptions. I don't care about any of that stuff. All right, next. Growth rates, I don't care about that either. All right, pretty pictures. Let me see. Gosh, people. Oh my gosh. Somebody just sent me a text message, says, tell it like it is, as far as my use of grammatically incorrect words. Average occupancy, as you can see, their average occupancy has been 95%, or that's what the market is. Subject is below 90, and the average is pretty darn close to around 95%. Okay, good. All right, so why am I low? Why am I low? Why is my property so much lower? Probably because my rents are so much higher. Did you ever think of that? If I plug my numbers into Rent-O-Meter, I'm at the top of the number. Well, guess what? That translates into a lower occupancy. So of course it all just ties together. Makes total sense. Oh my gosh, numbers, numbers, numbers. You guys know how I hate these type of screens. I don't care about any of this stuff. Pretty pictures. Okay, now we're getting into the rent comps, folks. Seriously, are you going to use the broker's rent comps? I mean, he's going to use every rent comp that makes his property look good. I don't care about his rent comps. His rent comps are meaningless. I'm going to go out and get my own. I know that he's using fake numbers to make my property that he's looking to sell me look better. All right, rent comps, and watch, sales comps will be next. Pretty pictures. There's sales comps. Guess what? How much you want to bet our property is below what everybody else is selling theirs for? Or they're below what they're showing us as sales comps because it makes their story look good. And that's exactly what you want to prevent against. All right, I think I'm coming up to the end of it. Demographic survey, who cares? Okay, hey, folks, here's the situation. Don't believe a word the brokers tell you. These offering memoranda are nothing more than schlick and gloss. You want to get down to the trailing 12 financials. That's all you care about. If you come to me and say, hey, Charlie, what do you think about this property package? And you haven't done your analysis on a trailing 12, I'm going to send it right back to you and say, don't waste my time. Get me a trailing 12. Well, the broker says that it's not available. Well, why not? Are we buying only 3 months worth of cash flow? Or I want to see the cash flow over 12 months. That's how I want it to happen. All right. So, you know, these brokers have got these things down to a science. They can make a sneaker look like a shine shoe. All right. And that's how they do it. Don't be tricked into this. Don't be thinking that this is how these deals need to go. Hold on a second. I'm going to blow up someone's question. Yes, thanks. Okay. Loss to lease. Why so high? No. Carol, the loss to lease in this particular property is only 2.5%. Yeah, Mike Johnson. Mother only wants to date someone in 4 years. Took me. No. Okay. Mike Johnson just referenced the comment I made about my mother wanting you to see a woman in all 4 seasons before you married her. It took me 4 years to marry my wife, so that's 16 seasons I got to look at before I married her. Now, Carol just asked a question, loss to lease. Why so high? Okay, Mike, thanks. Why so high? No, Carol, the loss to lease is not high on this deal. Let me go back and show you exactly what I mean, because I want you to understand that. Okay, let me go scroll down here. What you want to do is come down to this particular screen, and I'm going as fast as I can. Let me see here. Let's see. Did I go too far? I may have gone too far. I think I went too far. No, right there. Okay, so Carol, here's the situation. The market rent right here, this column, $916 per unit per year, okay? Per unit per month, $916. That is, according to the broker, that is the market rents of $916. Now, if we come over here to the gross, to the average rent, it's $891. So in other words, what it's saying is that the market is saying that all of our units should trade for $916 per unit per month. But we're only getting $891. So if I take $891 and I divide it by 916, it comes out to be 97.2%. So 2.8% of a loss ratio. So the difference between those two numbers is the loss ratio. And based upon these numbers, it's 2.8%. In my situation, and the way I know it, is it typically takes 3% per year of rental increases to keep you at market. This particular case, it's you're tight. You're at 2.8%. So this particular property, from a loss to lease standpoint, is running very well. All right, so I'm okay with the loss to lease issue. My issue with the rent on this property is that, based upon rent-o-meter, and I just looked at the one-bedroom units. You would look at each one of these units separately. Based upon the one-bedroom units, I am at the high end of the spectrum. I don't have much more room to go on the rent-o-meter section to determine whether I've got a deal or not. All right, so the only way that this particular property is going to make sense to me is if I can steal it. Okay, so that is that story. Now, in this particular case, guys, I know this is a very short lesson, and that's great. We don't have to spend a whole hour on analyzing a property package. You just saw how I went through a property package with Marcus Millichap to determine if we had a deal or not. All right. I don't even want to go through a cash flow analyzer with you on this deal, because you saw how those financials looked. Those financials were terrible. I don't want to even bother wasting my time analyzing a deal on a trailing 3-month deal. It's bogus. You cannot go to a bank and ask them to give you a loan on a trailing 3-month financial. All right, so just don't even bother doing it. Just don't waste your time. Ask the broker for a trailing 12, and if he says it's not available, you got to ask the question, well, why isn't this available? This is a performing asset based upon what you've told me. So if it's a performing asset, why are we waiting here? Why are we sitting? Why can't you give me that information? So I don't like this deal. I love this property. It's a beautiful property. Great, but we're not in the real estate business. We're actually in the cash flow business. And the cash flow here is based upon this page that you're looking at right now. And I got nothing. I got nothing. I can't make an offer on this. I can't go to a bank on this. I can't go to my private investors on this. I need 12 months of cash flow. Show me something. You show me a heck of a lot of pretty pictures. I don't care. Give me something more. You got to give me 12 months of financials, period. All right. Boy, I apologize, guys. I know that this is I hope this was very informative. Please let me know that it was. If it wasn't, please shoot me an email. You know how to get a hold of me, or shoot me a text. And I will do everything I can to educate you on this particular deal. But this is what you're going to get over. You're going to get a lot of this crap, and I call it crap. And gosh, I wish I could run my personal financial statement the same way that these brokers run these businesses, where I can take my 2010 income against my 2014 expenses and tell the IRS this is what I made this year. But it just doesn't happen that way. You can't do it. Brokers think you can do it. You just can't do it. So don't even bother. Don't even try. Move on to the next one. If this guy can't solve the problem for you, don't even bother. Okay, I've got a couple questions. Let me take a look at these questions. Okay. Okay, of the property packages you've seen, what percentage gives you less than 12? Oh my gosh. Okay, the question is, out of the property packages that you've seen, what percentage of them gives you less than 12 months trailing? Okay. Any answer I give you, please don't hold me to it, but it's because it's pretty much anecdotal. I would say 95% of them do not give me 12 months trailing. And not only do they not give me 12 months trailing, but here's the real key. And this is where these guys try to bamboozle you every step of the way, and it drives me crazy. And for those of you that attended my session this weekend, I apologize. There was a property package that I wanted to go over, but we just did not have enough time. There was just not a time. I had it all ready to go. We just did not have enough time. But the whole key lesson that I wanted you to learn from that particular property package was that brokers will take trailing income versus trailing expenses and pick and choose which income periods they want to use versus the expense periods they want to use. So they will take the last 3 months of income, annualize it, and then match it against 12 months of expenses. Now you might think to yourself, well, okay, fine. What's the problem with that? Well, here's the situation with that is okay. Somebody just told me that the market analysis coaching call regarding the micro and macro market data is coaching call number 12. So folks, if you want to go back and check out coaching call number 12, that might help you out understand this a little bit more. But the issue here with when you're taking the income for 3 months and the expenses for 12, why would a broker do that to you? Well, especially when you're dealing with a property that is going through a lease up. That means that 12 months ago there was no one living there, and 12 months later 100% of the units are occupied. Okay, so what? What does that mean? In your analysis, what that means is that 12 months ago nobody was there taking showers. Nobody was there flushing toilets. So your water and your sewer bill are very low. 12 months later, 100% of the people are taking showers and are flushing the toilets. So your water and sewer bill are very high. Now, if you take your income, your expense number, and you divide it by 12, you've spread that number out over 12 months. And it reduces your average per unit expense. But what they then do is they take the income for the most recent 3 months. In other words, the most recent 3 months where you've got the most available income, where you've made more money in the last 3 months than you have on average for the last 12 months. So I'm going to take the last 3 months of income versus the last 12 months of toilet flushing, and boy, have I got myself a very, very profitable property. But that's not how these properties run. You need to take the income and the expense sections for the exact same period of time. That's why I just said that in 2010, my income looked terrible. 2014, my income looked phenomenal. But in 2010, if I could take my expenses for 2014 and use them against my 2010 income, I could send that to the IRS and I wouldn't owe them a dime. But I'd be in jail shortly thereafter. So if we try to do the same things that the brokers do, we go to jail. But these guys end up thinking that they sell properties and bamboozle new investors. Don't fall for it. The income and the expense periods have to match out, or don't even bother with that deal. If they don't match out, what you're essentially looking at is a non-performing asset, because over the last 12 months, this property has not performed. Okay? So hopefully that answered Mike's question. Okay, now let's see what else I got here. Okay, good. Okay, good to go through this stuff. It helps in the long run. And then Carol asked the question, what the heck are concessions? Hold on a second. Do I see concessions here? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, look at this. Check this out. Okay, all right, look at this. Check this out. They spent $166,000. Holy cow, am I reading that wrong? These clowns spent $166,000 on concessions. Oh my gosh. Carol asked the questions, what are concessions? Come on, Carol, you were in my session this weekend. You know what concessions are. Concessions are when you're giving away the units, the property, the rental units, to get people to move in. And the typical concession you hear people talk about are first month free. Big mistake. Never do that. I always say if you're going to do that, you give them the third month free, only if they pay the first 2 months on time. Another concession that I really like, the only concession I really like is $200 to an existing tenant as a referral for one person moving in. So if they recommend our property to their friend, we'll give them a $200 concession off their rent. That's a great one. But concessions are something you want to stay away from, because you can actually get people, if you offered first month free, that means that you can have a professional concession shopper move into your property. And if they move in, that means they'll move in for 3 months, they won't pay you a dime, and before you know it, they'll skip and they'll go to some other property that's offering the same deal. You can have some people that go for a whole entire year without paying 1 month of rent because they move into these first month free properties. And you don't want to be that person. Every property manager I've ever worked with has told me they hate concessions because it means that they're not able to do their job. They're not able to sell their units to a person. So you want to stay away from concessions. And besides that, if you're looking at buying a property that has a huge line item on it, like $166,000 for concessions, that means that you are going to inherit all of these people who moved into the property because of concessions. I'm telling you right now, Carol picked up on a very interesting point here. And for me, this explains why you're only seeing a trailing 3 financial, because they had to lease up this property fast because this property was not full. And so they had to lease it up fast, and the only way they were able to lease it up fast was by offering concessions. And those concessions have not burned off, and you're seeing them right here now, and that's ending up costing the property a lot of money, and that's why you're not seeing this property on a 12-month basis, is because if you looked at this property on a 12-month basis, you would see that the income does not translate into a monthly cash flow of consistency. All right, so that's why when you look at $166,000 of concessions, that is a red flag. Thank you, Carol, for bringing that to my attention, because that is a huge problem with this property. That right there, that number is huge. You might want to just sit back and say, this is maybe I don't want to look at this property. You got to get to the bottom of that number. It is a huge problem, huge problem. Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's a lot of concessions. So that's definitely something that you want to look at. You don't want to, I mean, that's just, I mean, I got kudos to Carol. Now, okay, so Carol asked what are concessions, and I gave her a hard time over the fact that she came to my class this weekend and should have known what concessions are. Now I'm going to give her kudos for bringing this to my attention, because this is worthy of passing on this deal and saying, forget it, I'm not interested, because those that's a real number. That's something you got to dig down deep into to figure out why that's so big. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm looking here and seeing that it is no more questions. I'm going to put this call right up onto the archive site, so you'll have it in no time flat. Anybody has any questions, just shoot me a message. Now, remember, if you're in the owner forum, you can check out to see exactly when your next mastermind call is going to be. That's coming up pretty soon. And so I want to make sure that all of my owner forum members are on those calls, because you've got to get offers out the door this month. That is your job. So that is really it. I hope this was helpful. And next time I will break it down. I will go through a cash flow analyzer software program, and we'll make this thing. You'll see exactly how I make an offer. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate your time, and I will talk to everybody whenever you need me to. Just shoot me a text. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.